being with us today, Pharaoh.
Of course. No other place I'd rather be in the world, you know?
Okay, that's
Love it.
fine. All right, let's start over.
No, it's just, feel so blessed. Check out Layla's TEDx on YouTube. Look up Layla
So-
Longoria on TEDx. All right, go ahead.
It's 2022, beginning of a new year,
Fucking 2020, damn right.
and in 2021, you did a lot. The people are wondering, where the hell has Pharaoh been
Man,
all 2021?
where haven't I been? You know?
You mind if I ask you some questions about your year?
I guess we could do that. My name. You wanna know my name? Jamari Boothe, aka Pharaoh, aka whatever you wanna call me. As long as you don't call me broke. Nah, on the real, I've been doing, man, in 2021, just making a lot of music and performing a lot of music. A lot. Writing a lot of music, learning a lot about myself, making memories, making connections, you know, making lifetime connections, I feel like, and setting the foundation for forever, I feel like.
Can you tell us about Kano?
Man, Kano. So, Kano came to be, me and Alex had a streak of time, Alex, aka Parody, had a streak of time where we were just getting in the studio every weekend. I was working a pretty strenuous job for a good part of 2021. Strenuous meaning time constraints were heavy. But on the weekend, me and him would lock in and just make something new every time. And he had showed me the Kano beat kind of bones of it, and we just sat down for like a couple hours and, you know, tweaked it, and he had it sounding like a, I don't even know, like kind of bounce-ish, kind of not even, I don't even know what to call that. But after he locked it in and he had the sample sounding right, we were just like, we got to do something with it. So I sat down for like a couple hours and wrote Kano out. And as far as the subject matter of it, man, I mean, it was talking about life. I'm talking about what's going on at the time. Letting emotion out, because like I said, I was a little stressed out. I was feeling a lot of pressure from the job and from, you know, outside circumstances, family and stuff. So it's letting frustration out, having fun. And for me, I think it's definitely one of my favorite songs I've released. You know, the regular artist excuses, you know, every new release is my favorite release, but nah, Kano, I really love, and that's a song that's near and dear to my heart. Shout out Korea on the art, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I hit Korea up, I was like, yo, I need the illest art of all time. He was like, word, say so much less. He said, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, bada boom. And he had it done, and I was like, yo, Korea, this is the illest art of all time. You did it with that one. And he was like, I already knew it. Shout out Korea.
You did a Dion Dia showcase live stream
Ooh, wow,
on
yeah.
February 28th of 2021.
Well, story behind it, that was a showcase with GMV, right? Yeah, with Music GMV, shout out Music GMV. Layla and Kari and Jahi and everyone hit me up, and the opportunity was there to do a live stream. It was in the midst of the deep quarantine, so we didn't want to do like a full-on show, so we did a little live stream for the folks. I performed a few tracks, a couple of which like have taken new lives at this point, but the files are still up there. You could go watch it, right, somewhere. I would hope so. But nah, performed a few songs. Had a custom Steve Nash jersey that flew in that day in the show, and that show was really that. A live stream, I wasn't supposed to curse. They told me not to curse, and I ended up cursing a lot. And you know, one of the biggest times of my life where I knew I was fucking up, but kept going. Loved it. The function. Oh man, what can I not tell you about the function? Well, real quick, the day of the function, that entire outfit, real quick, funny story. Day of the function, that whole outfit I had bought that day, and I was running from one side of the mall to the next, and I had all the bags, all my clothes in it, and I busted my ass so bad with all of the bags of clothes in my hand, and really fucked myself up. That show, if I remember there was a video I was like rubbing my knee on stage, and I was like, "Yep, that's the knee right there. That's the knee that fucked me over." But the function, we ended up performing with Simons, and I got on stage to perform with See You Soon, and Ivan L. Met those guys for the first time. That was super dope. Ended up doing a song with Ivan and another show with Ivan later in the year. But yeah, met the See You Soon guys. They're doing really well. They just released a project and shit, and the show was really cool. MC'd for the first time at an event, and I think it went really well. And yeah, Simon's really dope. I like the function a lot. Real big success. Biggest crowd I performed at up to that point. Story from the function. From the actual show, actually, I had seen from the actual show. I wasn't expecting much of any of my friends to really show up, just because a lot of people were like out of town that weekend or whatever. And it wasn't until I got off stage and I walked through the crowd, like, because when you're on the stage, you can't really see the crowd that much, lights and everything. So it wasn't until I got off stage and I walked through the crowd and I saw like at least 12 people I knew there that ended up showing up. So that warmed my heart. That was definitely the highlight of that show for me. Shout out Orlando, shout out Obed, shout out Ella, shout out everybody. The show itself it's kind of felt like a cornerstone moment for us, at least just kind of like, this is who we are, kind of like a brand defining moment. I feel like it's like, all right, we could do this. And I don't know, for me, it felt like it gave me a lot of confidence as an artist.
Can you tell us about Dia Days?
Dia Days, that ended up being an audible to Samurai real quick. We had to kind of freestyle and think on the fly, be light on our toes. It was raining that day. A lot of our plans ended up being foiled. But ended up being a great time. Great time. The crowd was huge. I ended up performing a lot of the unreleased tracks, a lot of the Dragon Fruit tracks coming out. And for me, that show in particular, given that I had performed songs that weren't out yet, a lot of it was like stuff that I wasn't really sure if the crowd was gonna love, if I was just gonna go out there and sound crazy, but ended up being a great time. Met a Mindy that weekend, performed with a Mindy. That was super dope. Shout out to Mindy. That was the first show she had put her foot in my bag. And that changed my life in itself. Like, just having a Mindy's foot in my bag really just, in that moment when I gave her the bag and she put her foot in it, it was just like, wow, the possibilities are endless, Shout out Dia Days. That was really, really dope. Would love to do that again.
How was it going to Miami?
Dia Days in Miami, that was really dope. That was my first time performing outside of Gainesville. Performed at Car Park. It was a really dope venue more than anything. I think it was different than any other performance I had done as far as like the intimacy of it and the crowd in relation to me, and the type of crowd it was. But really, really dope vibe, I feel like.
What were the best parts of Juke Night?
Juke Night, that was at Palomino's backyard, yeah. That was a hell of a show. That definitely our best show to date. We had Grizzly come out. We had pretty much everybody that, I've ever really collaborated with or wanted to collaborate with, up until that point at least, come out. We had Grizzly, had Local Hot Boy. We had Brian come out, Israel. We had everybody come out, and it was a super, super dope vibe. Everybody was out there showing love. The venue itself was set up really well. You had the silent disco inside, and we had the performance outside in the backyard. And man, that was really, really dope. That night was a night I was like, I won't forget any of these nights, but that night in particular was like just incredibly special. I don't think it's for the rest of my life I'll ever forget that moment. But and near the end of the show, I kind of ended up going a little nuts and kind of blacking out and yelling at everybody a little bit. But the excitement was there. You had to feel the passion. You had to be there. The energy was there. But really dope vibe, really dope time, and got some really good sets in. Oh shit. Oh man, some water. See, and this is why you need friends. That's why you need good friends, amigos, to give you water. Oh man, added like 3 years to my life just now. Shout out Curry. But yeah, that was Juke Night.
Minamino. What was that like?
I almost like saying like the creation of the song is almost like the song itself. Creation was just kind of like spur of the moment, like Alex had kind of just figured something out with the instrumental. Him and Luis sat down and just, I remember he had sent me kind of like a sample of what they were going for, and I was just like, this is some off the wall shit. And I came over to his house, and him and Luis were working on it, and they ended up turning into something that was just completely just blew my mind at the time. So I was like, yeah, I had to do something. And I was writing, and that day was the day that I was playing like FIFA the whole day. And there's a player on Liverpool's like reserves. He plays sometimes, especially with this COVID stuff. But his name is Takumi Minamino, and he's just really fast. I really like watching him play. So when I was writing, that just kind of inspired the whole song. It was just like, all right, fast pace, balls to the wall, just complete blitz of just lyrics and instrumental, and the everything just kind of came together really naturally on that song. I feel like, and didn't really need to force anything. The verses, I had them and ended up finishing them really quickly, and I think the song sounded amazing. I mean, it's definitely my most ambitious song to date.
On Saturday, October 9th, 2021, y'all hosted an event called Who's Who. It was a hip-hop networking and block party.
Who's who? That was crazy. Like, I didn't really know what to expect going into it. I mean, obviously, the previous networking event was, the one where I was born. I came through and I met everyone for the first time. And, hey, we can never replicate that. But, nah, I didn't know what to expect going into it. It was really dope. The whole setup of the event was just crazy. I definitely had to hand it up to Layla and Korean them. They murdered that, because it was like a community of creatives, and it was, just walking around seeing everybody and being able to see creatives that I hadn't been able to meet in person, but give us kind of like a place to where we could like even collaborate on the spot, think about stuff, and you're surrounded by like-minded individuals, that we could all just sit there and talk about what projects we got coming up and bounce ideas off each other and, hear each other out. Battle of the Bar is still fresh in my head. That was last month, or 2 months ago technically now. First time running an event with Israel, man, and that was the first night of Israel really being on the label and like experiencing what, the label is and what we end up doing and putting on an event and what that can entail. But for anybody that came out, they could attest to it. It was definitely a roller coaster of a night. I think the bars that we ended up hearing were really dope. Shout out Big Vision. Actually, funny enough, before the final rounds were like announced, I ended up going to Big Vision because in her last battle, before the last battle, like the final battle, she was like kind of nervous about going first. She had to go first. And I saw her outside at like the bar at the High Dive after her round was done, and she killed it. She murdered it. Like, she sounded incredible. And so I saw her outside at the bar, and I was like, don't ever be nervous to perform again. Like, you sound great. Like, please, like, perform more. Like, you sound amazing. And I had seen Big Vision at a different event for Cypher House at one point, but nah, that was really dope. And Big Vision ended up winning, and it was a big moment. I think it was the crowd loved it. The crowd was into it. So Big Vision moment. Big Vision 2022. As Jamari, what am I looking for into 2022? Good question. I feel like even more growth. I feel like I'm reaching a point in my life where it's like I'm learning more and more about myself. I'm not just going through the motions like as much as I used to. I'm moving more deliberately, and I'm learning more about myself each step of the way. I feel like I'm becoming a better artist through becoming a better person. You can't really create quality art if you're not having quality experiences, in my view. I feel like for you to be able to make the art you want to make, you have to be living the life you want to live. So it's taking growth and taking time to really become who I want to be outside of the music and outside of the art, and being able to translate that to the art, and just, I don't know, becoming a better me. Man, as Pharaoh the artist, Pharaoh the artist is a cool name. Uh, 2021, I definitely created, we recorded a lot of music in 2021. And 2022, I feel like is going to be a big year of realizing a lot of, what our hard work was for last year. I feel like we put in a lot of work and laid a lot of the groundwork and a lot of foundation for a great 2022. Not saying 2021 wasn't great, it was an amazing year, but we also put in a lot of the foundation for an amazing 2022. And the first thing I'm looking forward to is Dragon Fruit, man. I'm ready to drop Dragon Fruit. I'm ready to drop singles. I'm ready to just drop. I'm ready to just let everyone hear what we've been working on. And not just for me, for everybody I'm working with too, you know, all the collabs I got coming out, all the artists that I work around. I mean, I'm excited for Raku to drop. I'm excited for Raf to drop. I'm excited for Israel to drop. I'm excited for everybody to drop. But just excited, man. I'm excited about what we have in store and just creatively letting everybody see what we got.